10.1 is talking about the measures of center, and our measures of center are mean, median, and mode. Hopefully you're kind of familiar with those terms. If you're not, the mean is the sum of the data divided by the number of items in the data set. We call that usually our average. Our median is the middle number of the data ordered from least to greatest. If the list, when ordered least to greatest, is an even amount of numbers, that means that we take the middle two numbers and we add them up and divide by 2, or find the mean of them if there is no exact middle to it. So median we tend to think of as middle. And mode is the number that occurs most often. So mode we tend to think of as most. Okay? It says statistics is the study of collecting, organizing, and interpreting information or data. Mean, median, mode are measures of center. Later on we'll talk about measures of variation. So measures of center is important here because they are statistics that describe the center of the data set. Okay? So example 1 goes through and shows how to find the mean, median, and mode for this set. So remember, for the mean, we add up all of our numbers and we find our total when you add them all up, which when we added these all up, it was 234. And we divide by how many numbers there are. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I divide by 10 here. When I do that, I get 23.4. The median, I had to put them in order, all of these numbers from least to greatest. When I tend to do this, I tend to go through and I'll be like, okay, 12 is my smallest, and I put a dot there to mark off that I've used 12. Some people cross it out, but then when I cross it out, I tend to see that I can't read the number anymore if I would come back to it later, so it might be helpful just to put a dot next to it or something like that. And then when you go to find your middle, I do the same thing. I put a dot at each end, so that's the first set off, second number off, third number off, fourth number off, and then I get to, here's my center 2 numbers. Okay, so 18 plus 18 divided by 2, well, since it's the same number added up, when we average it out, it'll still be 18. And then the mode. If I look at the numbers, the one that appears the most would be 18, and there's more than one mode because 27 also appears twice. Okay, so my modes would be 18 and 27. Now you could have no mode if no numbers repeat. That would be a none or no mode. Either one would be fine. Okay, so got it 1. They want you to find the mean, median, and mode of the data. So to find the mean, what I would do is I would take all of these numbers, even the one down here, don't miss that 51, and add them up. I've already done that. When I added them up, I got 600. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm taking 600 divided by 12. And I get that my mean is 50. For my median, I'm going to list them in order. So again, I've already done that. I know it is 37, 40, 45, 48, 48, 48, 50, 51, 52, 54, 62, and 65. I have had some people that have thought if a number repeats, that you don't have to write it down more than once. You do, because you have to keep as many numbers as there were here. So there were 12 numbers. I have to keep 12 numbers here as well. Since I know it's 12 numbers, there's not going to be a middle because 12 is even. So I know I would find the middle would be between 6 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the middle because I have 6 on this side and I have 6 on that side. So my middle two numbers are 48 and 50. So I would do 48 plus 50 divided by 2 for my median, and that would come out to be 49. And then my last one, the mode. Which one appears the most? That one had to repeat 3 times, so my mode would be 48. Okay? Example 2 goes through finding the mean and the median for the 2 sets of years, 2010 for the data and 2011 for the data. And then at the end it just says compare the usage. So you could read down here how they are comparing it. So today you will need sentences as you're answering some of these questions. Okay? You can go take a look at that on your own. It is in your notes. We're going to do Got It 2 together. So this one says the Fitzgeralds and the Corderos are neighbors. The ages of the Fitzgerald family members are 47, 50, 22, 20, and 18. The ages of the Cordero family members are 42, 35, 5, 4, 78, and 2. Compare the median and the mean ages of the two families. Well, let's do the mean first, and then we'll do our median. And Fitzgerald family, when we do that, we add up 47 plus 50 plus 22 plus 20 plus 18. And when I did that, I ended up with 157. Now, since there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, we're going to divide by 5. So I get 31.4. For the Cordero family, I would add up 42 plus 35 plus 9 plus 5 plus 4 plus 78 plus 2. And when I do that, I get 175. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members of that family. So it's 25 is our mean. Now for our median, the Fitzgerald family, I have to list them out in order. So that would go 18, 20, 22, 47, 50. Our median is always our middle number. The middle number here is 22. For the Cordero family, again, list them in order, least to greatest. That would be 2, 4, 5, 9, 35, 42, 78. This one again, since it's an odd amount of numbers, there is an exact middle. That exact middle is 9. So the last part then is make sure you're actually comparing them. Okay, I know you've talked about compare and contrast in your ELA classes, so you should know how to compare them here. When we compare them, I notice that the Cordero family has smaller numbers for both the mean and the median. So since we're talking about ages, that really means that the Cordero family is younger because the mean and median are smaller than the Fitzgeralds. That's how I would compare these. Since the mean and the median are both smaller, we would say that typically the Cordero is a younger family. Okay? Yes, I know that they do have someone that is older than everybody else in the Fitzgerald family, but typically they are younger because they have more younger that would be children than these are mostly adults. Okay? Example 3 and the notes above. Sometimes when we get into example 3 and example 4, we're not going to have to find all of them, the mean, median, and the mode. Sometimes it's what's the most appropriate value, or which one might this person want to use depending on what they want to convey. Okay? So when we're choosing the most appropriate, we would look at, for the mean, it's whether there's extreme values or not. So if there are no extreme values, meaning there's no number that's a lot higher or a lot lower than the rest of the information, that's when we use the mean, when there's not an extreme value. We use the median if there is an extreme value, and meaning there's no big gaps in the middle of the data. Because that's kind of going to come into when we're talking about spread, that they're not super spread out. Okay? If they're super spread out, then we can't really name that there might be an extreme value. The mode is when we have data that repeats numbers quite frequently. If we have a number that's repeated maybe 6 times and there's only 10 numbers, that would obviously be a very good number, very good representation for the center there. Okay? So again, look for extreme values and if numbers repeat. So in example 3, they looked at the data set and they said, okay, first of all, I don't see any numbers that repeat. Second of all, I don't see any extreme values. So when it asked which measure of center best represents the data, justify your selection, they said, since the data has no extreme values or numbers that are identical or numbers that repeat, the mean would be the best representation. Make sure if it asks you to justify, you're giving an explanation of why you chose that. Then it said actually find it. So for the mean, we add them all up, divide by how many numbers there are, and the mean here would have been 86 degrees. Got it 3. Once again, it's saying the table shows the number of sit-ups Pablo had done in 1 minute for the past 7 days. Which measure of center represents the data the best, okay? Justify your selection and find the measure of center. So we are looking for, first of all, is there any numbers that repeat? I don't see any that repeat. So the next thing is, are there any extreme values? And on this one, I would say there is. I would say that 19 is an extreme value because the next highest, or the next number would be 37, and 19 is almost half of that. So that would be considered an extreme value. So when we're looking at this, we would say that we're going to use the median. We want to look more at the middle because when there's an extreme value, it tends to pull the mean whichever way that extreme value is. So since this is a low, it's going to pull the mean lower with that when we go to do the average. So we're going to use the median, and we're going to do that because there is an extreme value of 19. Oh, I wrote 18. 19, there we go. And no numbers repeat. So this is telling us why we're using the median, because there's extreme values, so we wouldn't use the mean, and there's no numbers that repeat, so we wouldn't use the mode. And then we actually have to find the median. So I'm going to put them in order. So it would go 19, 37, 40, 45, 46, 49, and 50. So my median, or my middle, will be 45. 45 sit-ups. Okay? Example 4. This time around, it's not which one would be the most appropriate, but instead it's which one displays or shows the information that they're trying to convey. So it says the average wait time for 10 different rides at an amusement park are 65, 21, 17, 52, 25, 17, 11, 22, 60, and 44. What would the amusement park want to advertise, the mean or the median, to show that the wait times for its rides are short? So you have to find both of them. They found the mean, they found the median, and here are their numbers. And since they want to show that the wait times are short, that means we're hoping to show a smaller number. We want to show, oh, we don't have very long wait times. We want you to come to our park. So for this reason, they're going to use the median to try to convey that they have short wait times. Okay? Another example of this would be Maggie ran the 100-meter dash in 11.6, 11.8, 12.7, 12.6, 11.9, and 12 seconds. Would she want to use the mean or the median to describe her times? So when we're looking at this, our mean, we would add those all up. When I add all of those numbers up, I end up getting 72.6. And since there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, I divide by that. Oh, there. And I'd have 12.1 is my mean. For my median, I would have 11.6, 11.8, 11.9, 12.0, 12.6, 12.7. So the middle would be 3 on each side. So I'd do 11.9 plus 12 divided by 2. And when I do that, I end up with a median of 11.95. So when I look at these two, I would want to use the median. Usually when you're running to win a race, you want the quickest time. The quickest time is the smallest number. So we're going to do the median because it gives a faster time. Okay, median because it gives a faster time. Now, I did skip over some parts of the notes. It was these short answer questions. So short answer number 1 says, Jenny's bowling average is 146. Today she bowled 138, 140, and 145. What does she need to score on her 4th game to maintain her average? So there's two kind of ways you could look at it here. This is the way I would do it, because when I think of average, we say we add them all up. So 1st game plus 2nd game plus 3rd game plus we don't know the 4th game, divided by the total numbers. There's 4 different games, equals, it's going to be our average. We know our average is 146. To get rid of a divided by, we would multiply both sides by 4. So then I know that my total, when I add up all 4 games, is going to be that amount. So 1st game plus 2nd game plus 3rd game plus 4th game has to equal this amount. So you could just subtract over, and you end up getting 161 would be our last game. Number 2 says the table shows the monthly salaries of the employees at the bookstores. Find the mean, median, and mode for the set of data. So we went through and found all of those. Remember, mean, you add them all up, divide by how many there are. Median, list them in order from least to greatest, find the middle number. And mode is which one repeats the most. So we have our numbers here. Then the question is, based on the averages, which bookstore pays the employees better? Now, it's kind of tricky looking at it because here the mean is better for Bob's Book, but the median is better for Reading Place. So it kind of goes back to which one's the most appropriate. Well, Bob's Books has two values that are kind of really high and low. They tend to have more extreme values. Remember, when we have extreme values, that's when we want to look at the median and find the middle. So the median's the most appropriate to look at here, and the median would mean that Reading Place is going to pay a little bit better. Okay? And the mean, since there's extreme values, that one looks better because we have our high value here. I guess it's not even really this one is the extreme. This one's the extreme here. Okay? The next one, actually both 3 and 4 kind of talk about why we wouldn't want to use the mean if we're doing if we have an extreme value. So in number 3 it says the quiz scores for math class are 8, 7, 6, 10, 8, 8, 9, 8, 7, 9, 8, 0, and 10. Identify an extreme value and describe how it affects the mean. Well, our extreme value here is that 0. So if you find the mean without the extreme and the mean with the extreme, you can see there's quite a big difference. Since we're talking about scores, that 0.7 is really actually 7%. So if you were able to drop your lowest test score, we would have 7% higher for these scores here. Okay? So that's why it's really important that when we have an extreme, the best measure of center is going to be the median, not the mean, because using that number really changes the outcome. Number 4 is basically saying the same type of thing, that because we have an extreme value for the owner, we would much rather use the median as our number, because when we use this value with it, our mean is a lot higher. And we can tell when we took it out, this was more appropriate, but when you do the mean, you don't just get to decide. Some people in class thought, oh, then we just take this out and we'll do the mean. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to just take out the extreme value and do the mean. It's either the mean using all of the numbers or the median. Okay, and since the mean with all of the numbers doesn't work well, we would want to use the median. Okay? I kind of went over these short answers quick, so let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to help.